The executive order recently signed by President Muhammadu Buhari was the focus of members of parliament this week, as some lawmakers believe the president has strayed into lawmaking functions, which is the constitutional mandate of a National Assembly. Hello and welcome. I'm Linda Akibi, and this is the Gavel. Yes, that debate on the executive order number 006 led to a heated debate among lawmakers in the House of Representatives. The issue also led to a resolution in the Senate. What was the resolution? And that will be made clear in the report we have for you. And again, Parliament considers news of Nigerians killed in another part of the country. What should be done to curtail this tide of deaths? Well, these are just some of the issues considered this week. Let's start with the report on Executive Order 006. President Muhammadu Buhari signing the Executive Order number 006 of 2018 into law. The executive order is intended to empower the government to seize any assets suspected to be proceeds of corruption, while the owners of such property are being investigated or tried for corruption. The legislation was the focus of a sharp debate in the House of Representatives. According to the motion, sponsored by Representative Nicholas Osai and supported by 27 others, the recent executive order appears to hijack and usurp legislative and judicial powers.
The executive order 006 is a complete usurpation of the powers and functions of one, the legislature to enact the law. Two, the court that are vested on the power to adjudicate on these laws. Mr. Speaker, what the executive have done is to make another law.
With the Constitution and
the motion led to a heated debate among lawmakers.
I want to say that there is a saying that if you do the right thing in the wrong way, that means automatically the thing you are trying to do right equally goes wrong.
We can bring an executive bill and a bill can come here that will say, okay, for water investigation under the anti-corruption, it should last for 180 days, 6 months, and the appeal should not be more than another 3 months in order to fast-track the process of investigation and conclusion of litigation. But to now circumvent the rule of law and now create an order which now usurp the power of legislation and judiciary and add it to the power of the executive will be an aberration.
Has the president the power to make executive orders? I answer in the affirmative by saying yes. I listened to my colleague referring to the United States of America. And you know, the U.S. Constitution is so compact that you can easily read it. And there is no section of the Constitution that says the President of the United States of America must use executive powers. Yet, the constitutional law of the United States today will be incomplete without presidential orders. So presidential orders have grown over the years out of usages in the same way that the powers of presiding officers of the legislature have grown over the ages by use and passages. Therefore, presidential order, even under the Nigerian constitutional law, is not illegal and is not unconstitutional.
The presidential power to issue executive order has 3 sources. I said the Constitution itself, which gives the president the power to execute all executive decisions. The second one, I said, if it is derived, is it derived from the legislature? And this executive power is derived from the legislature because the EFCC Act has given the president to seize property under 2 circumstances. 1, if the property is subject of investigation, and 2, by order of court. So the president has the power to issue that executive order pronto.
We recognize the pronouncement by the court. And what we are supposed to do, if we have issues, and that's what the law has provided, anytime there's any conflict on any issue, the best way to go and canvass, to get the proper position, is the court.
The Speaker, however, has this position on the issue.
It's always important for us to have an opinion, even if we disagree, to say we disagree. If we agree, to say we agree. That is an opinion. It's not a judgment. I've said that before.
After over 2 hours, the motion was put to a vote.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it.
It's a close one, and some lawmakers are not pleased with the ruling of the Speaker and leave the chambers. The motion has, however, scaled through, and the lawmakers are urging President Buhari to suspend and discontinue the application and implementation of the executive order in view of its controversial nature and its conflicts with relevant provisions of the law. The House is to constitute an ad hoc committee to scrutinize and investigate all subsidiary legislations and executive orders in Nigeria and report back within 4 weeks.
We will proceed to lay the report.
Meanwhile, the same issue came up in the Senate. The Senate resolved to summon the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, to appear before the Senate in plenary and explain the constitutional basis for the controversial executive order and other executive orders issued by the President. In an interview with Channels Television, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary explains why the upper chamber is displeased by the executive order.
The Constitution itself has assigned responsibilities to each of the 3 arms of government. And the responsibility of making laws resides with the legislature. The executive executes the laws made by the legislature. The executive order number 6 seems to usurp the powers of the National Assemblies to make law and the powers of adjudication, which resides with the judiciary, because it is given powers to the Attorney General and other security agencies to seize and freeze assets of persons suspected of having committed corrupt or criminal cases. That is supposed to be some areas that is already covered even by the EFCC Act and the ICPC Act.
It is not clear at the moment if the National Assembly will be taking the matter to court